had the privilege and honor of dedicating the last 30 years of my life to helping people all over the world, people just like you, achieve their personal and professional dreams. I created Dream University. I've written 15 books, many of them bestsellers. I developed a core curriculum for life coaches. We call them Dream Coaches. And my work has been taught in schools, universities, and companies, to families, even in prisons. So what I'm about to tell you does not come easy. And it's something I've never said publicly. Dreaming is not enough. Oh, just felt that. Dreaming is not enough, because even though I don't teach pie-in-the-sky ideas, but hardcore principles, and even though I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people, millions if you count multiple Oprah appearances, we're experiencing more nightmares right now than ever. So I think it's really time for us to stop and say, well, what needs to happen here? What can we do about this? 5 years ago, in a meditation, I was guided to stop, a word that was not prevalent in my vocabulary as an ambitious, driven businesswoman. But I thought, well, okay, I'll give it a shot. Went down to my calendar in my office. I thought, okay, I think I can carve out a little time to stop, think, feel between Christmas and New Year's. I was scheduling stopping. And somehow my hand spontaneously crossed out the entire month of December. And I freaked out. I have a business to run. I have responsibilities. I have bills to pay. I just can't stop. But somehow I did. I took a period of time to stop, to slow down, to feel myself, to ask myself some really important questions. And during that time, I developed and practiced the skill of discernment, the ability to say no more, no thank you, no way, because as we say no more, we can say now what to what's really important. Well, let's see, 2 years later, this would be 3 years ago, I hosted the most successful event of my career. I held a 3-day workshop in California. 700 people came from all over the globe. I was the only teacher. It was called the Wealthy Visionary Conference, and the theme was Bridging Money and Meaning. And the idea was to help us discover our self-worth and to live and create meaningful lives. It was one of the best weekends of my life. I liked how I looked. I loved how I felt. I did amazing teaching because I held nothing back. I just gave everything that I had. And not only did we exceed all of our business and financial goals, but we raised $150,000 to help build schools in Africa. And thank you. I'm very proud of that. And I'm excited to tell you that next month I'm going to visit my students, I call them mine, my students, to bring them the Dream curriculum and to look in their eyes and to say, I believe in you. Because I know that's one of the most powerful things that we can do, especially for children. Well, at the end of the event, everybody's shock and dismay, I announced that I was going on an indefinite sabbatical. I pulled the plug on my company, and I moved to Rome, Italy. I really stopped. Why Rome? It was a dream, of course. Years ago, I had a consulting job that took me to Cairo, Egypt. And I always stopped in Rome. I would sit on the Spanish steps and in my dreamiest voice would say, maybe someday I'll live in Rome. Well, that day is now. I literally can sit on my couch in my living room with an iPad on my lap doing some writing, looking out my window at the Spanish steps. So dreams really can come true. But what I didn't know in moving to Rome was that it was the place in the world, probably more than any other city that I had been to, that had more rules and regulations, more laws that didn't mean anything. My friends, the locals, explained to me that they didn't respect the law because they didn't trust their leaders. Where else are we hearing this conversation? But for me, it opened up a dialogue for me to look inside. What's my relationship to self-respect? What's my relationship to self-trust, and even what's my relationship to self-love. And I got curious, if I started developing more of that inside myself, how might I be able to impact the world? Well, I started hanging out at the Pantheon. This is a 2,000-year-old, totally intact temple. And I would watch people, mostly people on tours, who would run in, take a selfie, or a pano, since it's a round building. And meanwhile, I would sit. I learned how to stop. I would sit. I would listen. I would hear. I would feel. And new questions started bubbling up inside of me. Questions like, who am I really? Why am I here? What is mine to do? And I coined a phrase for myself called soul integrity. Integrity at a soul level, which means once you know who you are, how do you put yourself in right relationship with that and with life? After a period of time, a couple of years, to be honest with you, I started to feel the sabbatical was starting to wind down, and I started to feel the beginning of the call to come back to work. And I thought, I'm not sure Rome is the best place for me to be for working. Like, it just felt like we're really good at eating and drinking in Rome, right? So I went to Barcelona. I thought, well, maybe that's the place, because there was a lot more happening there. Yeah, I know, they eat and drink there too, but there's a lot of innovation and creativity and activism happening there. So I went to Barcelona, and what I discovered is Barcelona is a real working city, where in Rome, nothing works. By the way, including me. So I don't know, we'll see if I wind up in Barcelona. Shortly after that, I got a call to come to Prague for a group called the Y.P.O., the Young Presidents Organization. And these are all CEOs who are under 50 who run very successful companies. And a colleague, a client actually, who I'd worked with years ago, showed up there. He said, I came here because I wanted to look in your eye and I wanted to tell you something. Do you remember me? I said, of course. I spent one day with you and your executive team helping them discover their purpose and explore how they could bring their purpose in service to your organization's vision. He said, you taught us that day how to create a culture of trust. We would trust ourselves more fully, we would trust each other more fully, and that translated throughout our entire company. And we have become a multi-billion-dollar organization. I said, well, I'm thrilled. I often don't hear what happens after I leave when I'm just doing one day with a company. And he said, I came here to thank you and to tell you I want to hire you again. I said, well, that's cool. What do you want me to talk about? And he's like, I trust you. What do you want to talk about? I said, well, I've been exploring lately the idea that one of the reasons why dreaming doesn't work is because we've been too focused on ourselves. Even I used to teach. The question to ask was, how do I want my life to be? And what am I willing to do about it? Time for a new question. How do I want the world to be? And what am I committed to doing about it? He said, yeah, I want that. Because he actually gets that service and contribution impacts the bottom line. He's a visionary. He has a vision. He has a big idea. He expresses it with clarity and passion and gets people excited about it. He inspires and invites people to join him. And above all else, he takes action on his dreams. And when I think about TED, the wonderful slogan behind TED, ideas worth spreading, I thought I would leave you with a short acronym for the word IDEA, I-D-E-A, that sums up what I'm talking about. I, integrity at a soul level. Know who you are and what is yours to do. You don't have to do everything. And the way to get in touch with that is through D, discernment. As we say, no more, no thank you, clear the space to whatever's in the way, including our own beliefs and obstacles. We're more available to fulfill on our purpose or our mission. E stands for enrollment. I didn't talk much about that, but enrollment is when you can share your dream in a way that inspires other people to join you. That's how we can get more done faster. The two prime skills in that are inspire and invite. You inspire people by your idea and how you share it, but more than anything, by who you are being. When you are in integrity, people can feel that and are much more likely to join you and to help you. And the ultimate act of integrity, A, is action. So of all the books that I've written, the last one is simply called Dream. And the first line of the book is, dream is a verb. Yes, it's also a noun. You can have a dream, but to dream is to act on what's important to you. And that's how we can transform this conversation and make our dreams truly powerful. Act on your dreams because it's never been a better time to take action on what's important to you and for the world. Thank you so much.